All right. So this session is just a 20-minute short fireside chat with Vipul. We've known each other for some time now, and I'm sure everybody knows Vipul, who's the MD and CEO of HDFC Capital. So again, I'm going to have 8 short questions for him, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So keep your questions ready. And the idea is to keep it a little unpredictable. I don't think Vipul has seen my questions, so let's see what he responds. So we've said...
You have kept it post-lunch session for the right reasons, so let's shoot.
So I've told him you can speak your mind. Nobody's going to take any videos except for the live streaming that's happening on Facebook. So it's all closed doors.
And Sobia is not listening.
Yeah, and Sobia's not reporting it in Economic Times, so... Okay, so Vipul, you've had a very illustrious career in the real estate space, and you've sort of had a glimpse into different aspects of it, right? From the mortgage business, then you were part of the credit aspect, then you did private equity, and now you've also done investment, and now you're sort of semi-developer through your investment partners. So you've seen real estate from very many different aspects over the many years of your career. So do you think, we've been talking about PropTech all morning, do you think it's become a must-have, or is it still a nice-to-have in our projects?
Frankness is the order of the day, right?
Frankness.
So I think, to organize conferences, and we organized something on PropTech recently, you were part of that. So to organize conferences, you need interesting topics. So the topic, say about 5 years back, was affordable housing. So whenever the market goes down, the only conferences, 8 out of 10 conferences are affordable housing conferences, because nothing is selling, so you have to organize conferences for all these things. And the real estate juggernaut was, all of us were feeling left out because these tech guys were going all over. Yeah. So we said, listen, we need our own ecosystem. So I think that is where this PropTech thing has come in. So I was asking my team, Ashutosh is here, I think. I said, so tell me, what is PropTech? So I said, what all? So he said, it includes fintech, it includes sustainability tech, it includes construction tech, it includes design. So I said, iske alawa, rocket science ke alawa, what else is left? So which basically means that anything and anything which is part of the tech ecosystem is in PropTech. And if that is what you're saying is your question, then yes, it is the order of the day. But on a serious note, I think there are 2 or 3 aspects of this PropTech thing. One is, say, from a developer's perspective. As financiers, we love talking about developers and kind of beating them down on every public stage. So I'll do that needful. See, what happens is that if I'm a developer and I have to have a consumer-facing thing, any consumer-facing thing is more technical today than it was ever. So to that extent, how I approach them, I don't know, Samir would know the right words, but what is a consumer tech or B2C part of it, how the consumer is looking at my real estate project, how I'm approaching them, the distribution part, that is definitely much more digitized. And that should be more digitized. How do I construct as a developer? That should be digitized. It is 100% non-digitized, even today, despite all the talk of tech. Then comes post-delivery, can I do some chip-ins, like what HomeLane is doing and a couple of other people are doing, which is adding some part of things. I came to know about it, frankly, only about an hour back, about the kind of work they're doing. That these are all digitizing some part of the construction ecosystem. So that will happen. Somebody's doing some stuff on procurement. So you don't need a procurement manager. You can go on one place, and there are 3, 4 of them who are doing complete procurement, digitizing the procurement part. So that will happen. But is it here? I don't know. I think it's still at the conferences.
Yeah, so you were mentioning that, that, like you said, PropTech has a very wide definition, but if you really look at, and you wanted to sort of get involved with the tech because, tech is the big story that everybody's talking about. And that's part of the reason why we got into Brigade Reap as well, because we saw that tech companies were getting bigger valuations than your traditional businesses that were profit making, and then your large technology tech companies were not making profits, growing at rapid paces, and getting multiples of what traditional businesses were getting. So everybody wants to be a part of that tech story. But if you look at prop tech, right, it wasn't a term that term didn't even exist about 6 years ago. Prop tech didn't exist. Like, nobody was talking prop tech at that point in time. But if you see how it's been growing, in the last 5-6 years, it's had a CAGR of, say, 57%, whereas traditional real estate business is more at 10-12%, your standard growth. If you look at the kind of investment that's come into prop tech in the country, probably in 2015, you had about $110 million, and maybe last year we had almost $750 million into prop tech. So two questions. One, do you think prop tech is at an inflection point? And two, do you think it'll follow the same growth path that fintech went through, maybe a decade ago?
See, please understand, I have my very strong views on fintech, and I don't think 7 out of 10 fintech companies are making. So, okay, so we have this internal benchmark of P&L versus balance sheet. We are, as developers or financiers or most of the people, are doing P&L businesses. You sell for 100, construct it for cost is 80, make 20, 10, whatever. That's the P&L. Then this tech ecosystem, which is saying, I don't bother about the P&L, I'm doing the entire thing. That's how we would like to rubbish the balance sheet people. But see, what is happening is, I think, first of all, I'm not a big fan personally of this percentage terms. We play with this, but there's a base effect. So $110 million and $750 million, while it may be CAGR of 57%, but it's only $750 million.
The base is small.
Base is small.
Yeah.
Second, I think for anything to be called an inflection point, you should not look at 750. I would definitely want to understand that if you take a median, if you remove the top three, and then what is the value of this 750? Is it, because I think typically what happens is that there'll be 1 or 2 companies which will consume bulk of the money, or 3 companies will take bulk of the money, and then everybody says prop tech, prop tech, prop tech. So, should it be implemented? Yes, it should be implemented. Are there enough kind of solutions in prop tech and enough entrepreneurs doing some amazing things? 100%. Is it something that financiers, developers, or the entire ecosystem should look at? Yes. But is it being looked at? I'm not so sure.
So do you think it's still, is it a good time to look at investment? Because see, you're looking to invest in startup technology. We are looking to invest in startup tech in the prop tech space. But if you look at it, we have only maybe 3 or 4 unicorns in the space. And I think we're talking to 3 of them next session. So there's India Inframart, there's No Broker, there's Live Space, there's, I think, Home Lane is also trying to make big waves there, there's Square Yards, but there's just a handful of them. One of the questions we often get raised when we are also looking to raise funds for PropTech is the space mature enough, or is there depth in the market? So what is your opinion on that?
Depth is there, there's no doubt. It also is, we learn new terms. I learned a new term, baby corn today.
Baby corn?
So, yeah, I heard baby corn. I think it was called baby corn. They said, I think somebody said, it said unicorn, there is sunicorn, and there's baby corn. So I think baby corn is soon to be sunicorn, something on that side. But if it is baby corn or whatever, but I think there is definite depth. There is no question of depth, because for the first time, I think maybe it's also a little bit of a post-COVID digitization ecosystem and syndrome, but everybody is realizing that in whichever part of the cycle I'm on, I need to have something more digital. And that digital should be beyond having LinkedIn posts and Facebook likes and Insta likes. I have been part of business plans, and I'm sure I don't see many of my South Indian friends here, South Indian developer friends here, but where they say marketing, digital marketing means I've got so many Facebook likes on the digital campaign we did, and we got so many Insta likes, and there was one more which they used to use. I'm forgetting.
Facebook.
Maybe it was Twitter. Okay, and then there is some person sitting in Hong Kong or any of these Southeast Asian countries. You buy 1 million likes for X rupees and so forth. But that's the way it works.
Yeah, so just changing track a little bit, you have your heart program, and you had a big conference yourself last week or the week before, and you were doing a little competition on, for startups in the prop tech space. And I think you mentioned you got close to 600 companies applying for this. 550. Yeah, 550, 600 companies applying for this competition. So what are 3 of the most interesting solutions you've seen in the prop tech space?
So, okay, so, no, very good question. I'll have to probably think. But personally, when we do real estate investments, say in real estate projects, I don't think a solution necessarily means a startup, and I don't think a solution necessarily means digital. And I give a lot of weightage to actually focusing, or company which is focusing on the word solution, rather than finding a digital way to find that solution.
Yeah.
And so one company I really liked in terms of, I don't want to probably name the company, you would know them, but it's probably not fair to the others, which said that we just monitor marketing costs and we optimize marketing costs of a typical developer. And I can tell you now, having made some thousand odd project investments, it ranges from 1% to 9%. And in a project where you're in a business where you're having, say, a 25% margin or 20% margin, if a 3% difference here and there makes a huge difference. And they only do, below the line, deep dive, Excel sheet based, which they try to give a twist to digital, but they were doing a good chartered accountant job. And I thought it was a great solution because as an investor, as a project manager, as the entire ecosystem, they don't do those stuff. Right. So it was very good. I found some initiatives on sustainability very, very good. I'm saying sustainability because the next conferences for next 1 decade will be on this. So, and I also want to appear a little bit more sophisticated about things, but
now sustainability is included in prop tech. We've included sustainability to prop tech
No.
well.
We call it sustainable living.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sustainable housing. Sorry, Arvind.
You can
sustainable
call it,
housing.
There's sustainable tech, there's urban tech, there's clean tech, there's prop tech, whatever it is, but it's all part of prop tech now.
But there were some very good solutions on water. Say when we were studying, we were told the next world war will be fought on water. I think that was the whole thing, that third world war will be fought on water and blah, 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 blah. And then there were 2 or 3 solutions which I thought were amazing. It actually reminded me of those geography days where they said that the air has some water vapor in it, and if you condense it, then it condenses on thing. And so there are about 4 or 5 companies, and now some more industries getting set up where you just utilize the water vapor in the air, condense it, and create it into potable water. Yeah. Then there are some stuff which is being done in terms of transporting water, cleaning water. And I think all of them have applications at the site. Yeah. I'm looking at it from a pure real estate site perspective. That was very interesting. There was one which we liked. I have a personal issue with this term platform. Like out of this 550 companies, I went through each company, the deck. It took me about 15 days, and I went through all the companies. Every fintech company, why I was coughing at the fintech thing, because every second fintech company, if you ask the promoter, what do you want to do? Say, I'll do this, blah, 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 and we'll be a neobank. Okay? That's what it is. And then the other thing is that they will say, I am any consumer-facing company, I'm blah, 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 and I'm a platform. Now, I understand, maybe I'm ill-equipped to understand the depth of the term or whatever it is, but so be it. The fact is that ultimately, if I'm a platform, then the only claim to fame I can have is my number of customers. And having number of customers in a B2C format, I don't know how many companies have been able to create those kind of businesses profitably and sustainably. Like sustainably in the English word, not this environment sustainable. So profitably and sustainably, how many of them have been able to do this? And it's not easy. So practically, and I have no IP. So I am just taking a business idea. So I take this 550 presentations or maybe another 500 which have come today, make a hash of it, change the name, get a bunch of good, well-speaking, smart people, and do this platform thing. And raising pre-Series A and Series A from developers is the easiest thing I think in India today. Because I have seen, so we invest in real estate projects across the country, and I said, as part of the conference, I called up 7-8 friends in the developer industry and said, listen, you guys should do PropTech. They said, yeah, we are doing PropTech. We are investors in PropTech. I said, listen, I don't want you as investors. I want you to give business. A, and B, when you give business, I want you to make payment in time. Now, that is a big one. That is too much. So he says, listen, if I come with a kick-ass promoter, so and it's a fact. A lot of these companies, they came and said, listen, sir, we have this amazing solution, ABC. And so I said, why don't you go and meet Mr. X? He said, yeah, sorry, Mr. X, whichever. So Mr. X, you go and meet as a developer. And the person goes, he says, I really like your solution. What was the last round you raised? He says, sir, I've come to sell my product. I want you to do this. He said, no, wo my purchase guy will see. I want to invest in your company. And now that I am investing in your company, so obviously I am high. So obviously you'll give me at a discount to whatever last round was, because I am a FOMO-infected developer and buyer of your services. So I have to be an investor. And that poor chap, after 1 month of up and down, ended up taking 1 crore rupees from the promoter, by virtue of which all his other friends said, I will not invest and become a buyer of your company, because he was ultimately having a platform. And that platform said, listen, what is data integrity? Now that's, I'm sorry, I'm jumping topics, but it is amazing. So I got into this, so I'm sorry, but my tech coefficient is, I have trouble managing my iPhone. So beyond that, it is difficult. So, but because we also FOMO infected, thanks to all the wonderful work you guys have done on PropTech, so we also set up a PropTech fund. So we said that we have to set up something related to work on technology and so on and so forth. We say, just not going to happen, because hame aata nahi hai, and we think we know everything.
So you have this, see, you're the perfect customer, right? You're ready to, for a startup, you're ready to invest in the startup, you're ready to give business to a startup. So what's the issue? Why is adoption in tech so slow? Because you have all your other developers are basically your partners. You can easily give a, sorry to use the word, but platform to the startups to use. So what is the issue? Why is there such, and you can mandate to your partners that, hey, we need to use X amount of technology. So what is the issue? Where is the hold-up in adoption of tech? Because that, I think a lot of the startups here have the same issue. Like, we all evaluate startups, but finally to actually put your money where your mouth is, pay for a solution, adopt, it is a challenge. Where do you think, what is the issue? And I don't think it's a, let me just say, it's not, I don't think it's a single issue. There are multiple challenges, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
First of all, irrespective of what I say on the stage, when we go down, we are just a lender. And a lender's ability to coerce the promoter, that also in the real estate business, is only that much. And that also comes at the time of interest rate setting and payments of interest and so on and so forth. Otherwise, generally, we are not even phone call away. Now, but on a serious note, I think, so in HDFC Capital specifically, what we are focusing on is that we have a 70% touch point market share. In terms of 70% of developers are directly, indirectly linked to the HDFC ecosystem. And I think for all the reasons that you mentioned and which are pretty obvious, tech has to happen. There are 20,000 developers in this country. If I just go by the unique items of the Naretco and Credai, the two agencies, I don't think more than 5 or 10 are doing a meaningful intervention on the prop tech space out of this 20,000. And a lot of them want to do it. To be fair, it is very difficult. See, please understand, as a promoter of a developer, it is very difficult for me to get a startup or a new solution in my development ecosystem because I am just buying a service. Tomorrow, I don't know whether this company will survive or not.
Yeah.
That is not my job. Now, I have this RERA beast. I have customers. I am public enemy number one. If anything happens, everybody's going to come after me. Nobody's going to bother which startup you promoted and which. If I give some solution to say maybe something on water seepage, okay, and for some reason it doesn't work, that startup will just evaporate and their VC fund and people will just wash off their hands. Yeah. I am the guy suffering. So that is why as a developer, it's not so easy to just plonk a startup on the table. So I think that's why what we are trying to do is we are saying here, we started investment, though it's not our main job. We are, by the way, doing it from our balance sheet. Because I don't want to take third-party money to do something which we don't understand. Yeah. So we are going and saying we'll go and take a single-digit minority stake if we like your product, so that when they go to the industry, they can say, listen, I am ABCD, blah, 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 and for whatever it is worth, I also have investment from, say, a lender of yours. So it kind of gives you an add-on play. That's
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think scalability of some of the startups is a challenge because all of us can give 20,000 units, 30,000 units, but the back-end operations, the scalability of some startups, I won't paint everybody with the same brush, is always a challenge. But I'm going to put a shameless plug and say that, that is the point of certain, like why we do this accelerator is to help these startups create businesses in a scalable way because no startup we've met is a plug and play. We've had to work with them for at least half a year, 1 year, 2 years before they can actually come to a developer and say, I have a plug and play solution. So with that, I'm just going to pause since I think we're running out of time. Do any of you have any questions for Vipul? Or myself.
But before that, I must say that as I said, tech questions are low, and these 6-7 jury that I've been part of and the entire journey I've seen at Brigade, it's outstanding. What you guys have done is actually create a whole industry.
Thank you.
Now we guys are just piling on to that. Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
I think actually I had other questions on how we can collaborate, but we can always take that offline. But there's so much happening in the PropTech space now, and especially with, behemoths like HDFC coming into the game, it really adds a lot of credibility into the market. So it gives a lot of weightage and gravitas, and like you said, we will build an ecosystem together. But any questions?
Tanuj, when I'm talking platforms, I don't mean...
2 questions.
Except you, I mean.
I saw 2 hands. If you can keep your hand raised, a mic will come to you. Yeah.
Hi, Vipul and Nirupa.
So
I think, the question is for both of you. Nice fireside chat. This is from, being banker, how do you see the role of regulator? Because, the regulator is always like what the minister was mentioning in the morning. The government is lacking, and once the innovations happen, the regulation starts kicking in from the other side, especially when you talk about a fintech, prop tech like ours, there is no regulation today. So the moment you say we take data, so there is a data protection bill which is upcoming, and then there is a regulator like RBI or somebody else who will kick in. So what is the role of the regulator, and how will REAP or HEART, like HDFC Capital would be shaping the policies at the regulator level?
I think, despite what, I don't know what, but I personally feel that the financial regulators, RBI and SEBI, they are the most progressive regulators we have. And irrespective of what the fintech industry may think, fractionalization and democratization of corporate debt and all those other things that are being done, you have to understand the larger play. closely interact with the regulators, and I can tell you they're extremely progressive. So if something is not illogical, and there's this sandbox, like SEBI has this sandbox program, which is brilliant. I don't know of too many regulators who have this kind of ecosystem. And if you meet the new whole-time member on the AIF front, they're right up there. So I don't see that to be a issue at all.
I'll move on in the interest of time.
Yeah, first of all, I like your frugal thoughts very well. So I want to know, like, between a lender and person who wants a loan. So both a person want the loan very eagerly. But I have seen like there are so many aggregators in that space as well who are helping people in getting loans. Do we actually need them, or it just like FOMO, I would say, to just enter the industry by giving sales to loans?
You mean, do lenders need distributors? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, obviously. Like at the end of the day, HDFC Bank, with being what I think now with the post-merger, it will be the 5th largest bank in the world.
But like you
It
mentioned,
only has 40 million customers. We are 4 crore customers, and 130 crore population.
but like you mentioned, you have already 70% of the developers of India who can directly outreach you.
No, they can outreach us. Okay, so there's a little bit of a marketing attached to it. Yeah. So I am also sitting on the stage. I have to slip in. You know how you sell whiskey and all those things. So I have to slip in, but I said touch points in the sense that we know and we interact with them, whether it's home loan or this and that. But we definitely need them.
Okay, last question, then we'll wrap up. Yeah, somebody's there, so whoever the mic goes to.
Hi, Vipul. So I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a P&L guy. So one quick question on the P&L. What percentage of the spends on tech are you seeing in the real estate developers?
Oh, good question.
Because you spoke about 2%, 1% to 9% of marketing spends, but how much are they actually spending on tech? And a related question I'll ask, and then you can probably continue. You said, I'm tracking prop tech very closely for some time now. I worked on, so I'm from M&A Deloitte. So I worked on multiple transactions involving prop tech, including interior decorators, aggregators, marketplace, and then many more. But you said, prop tech is probably not sustainable and scalable. As in,
I didn't say that.
now at the end of the conversation, you said, the prop tech by itself is something where people might not adopt very easily.
It's a challenge,
It might not be scalable and sustainable at all as at individual level. But as a sector, if you were to give an advice to the prop tech, startups, what would be that one advice that you believe would work for them to create scalability and sustainability? So there are two questions.
Solve the problem. Don't find the answer and then try to find the question. You go to the client, and whatever answer, whatever problem they have, solve the problem. You don't need a digital answer to every question, because you don't need a valuation matrix for everything.
You apply to Brigade Reap and then we'll tell you,
Yes.
okay? All right. With that, thank you everybody. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, Vipul.